Hey y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Trying to get the audio
Y'all at
together.
all.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, I can hear you.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, y'all are from up north. Y'all say hi.
Yes.
Oh, where are we supposed to? Where are you from?
Where are y'all from? Because I just said hey.
All
We're
the
New
way from New
Yorkers,
York, Brooklyn.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes. And where are
how
you?
did you catch that listening to y'all?
That's funny. Where are you?
That at all. I'm in South Carolina. Well, I'm from South Carolina. I'm a Carolina.
Okay,
Dope,
cool.
dope, dope.
Yeah, y'all are so cute.
Thank
Listen,
you.
I feel like I don't even need to give my whole intro and say, it's informal, just conversational, because I feel like I know y'all. Just
Oh, I love
watching
that.
y'all. So
That's dope. That's dope.
I love it. Thank you
yeah.
for
So
inviting
I
us.
will say, hey, it's Takara Lastacia with 2020 the magazine. And I'm sitting here, I'm so excited to be sitting here with the BaShes. Who are the BaShes? Let the people know. Introduce yourselves.
So the name derived from,
You want me to tell?
well, you would say your name first.
Oh, Barry. My name is.
His name's Barry.
Yes.
I'm Shantini. So the two first initials of both of our names make up the BaShes. So Barry, Shantini.
Let
Absolutely.
me tell you, I didn't figure that out until about 15 minutes ago. Because at first I was thinking it was y'all's last name. But then I was like, wait, that S is capitalized. So that's Shantini.
Yes.
I figured it out. I figured it out.
I know it's so
So-
funny because I'm like, we're engaged, and so it's just like, man, when we actually change my last name, it's gonna be funny because like we are the BaShes, so
Yeah.
like we just have to keep that because even
That's right. That's right. We don't even want to hear the other name.
Exactly.
The BaShes.
The bash is stuck. It is what it is.
Exactly.
I love it. So let me tell you, I just so happened to be searching for a page on Instagram maybe 2 weeks ago. I was looking for this guy that I was interviewing a couple of weeks ago. And as soon as I went to the search bar, your maternity shoot came up, like the pictures. And I was like, yo, who is this? Because first of all, you just look like a whole chocolate goddess. I was like, wait, like her body's just brown. And so of course it made me click on the picture and I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. I immediately told my publicist, yo, find these people, I gotta interview them. And that led me to following y'all. And then I had asked my husband, don't judge me because I've never listened to a podcast a day in my life. And so I'd ask my husband, like, how do I listen to a podcast? Like, how do I even pull it up? I want to start listening to them. So he had to tell me, like, there's an app on your phone that says podcast. So I did that. And I'm just like overjoyed right now. I love y'all. Like,
Thank you. That's amazing.
y'all are my cousins from the Bronx, I guess. Oh, wait, y'all said the Bronx or
Brooklyn, no, Brooklyn, no,
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay,
No,
okay.
Yeah,
I know what's
Bronx.
up.
all me.
We're
We don't
not
even go to the Bronx. No,
Yeah, no. Actually, yeah, we do, but
very seldomly.
Brooklyn.
All right, well, y'all are my cousins from up top.
I'm
Nice,
with it.
nice,
I'm with
nice.
it. I love it. All
Cool. So I'm doing a feature called Black Love in the magazine. And actually, you guys are going to be our web exclusive. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just enamored by what you all put out. But I want to know, where did your love story start?
Woo. You want me to go with this one?
You could tell.
I
So there's versions to this story.
Levels.
He has a version.
Okay.
Try to be as
No, give your version.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my version.
Give your
My version. All right, so I'm gonna try to tell the story as short as possible, but I have loved and liked Shantini for about 10 years now, but we weren't together for that time. I used to be a barber years ago, and this dark-skinned, short-haired, beautiful statued woman walks inside of the barbershop, and one of my boys was cutting her hair, and I almost like passed out. And back in the day, I was a bad boy. I was so instantly I was on her. I was like, "Yo, who is that? This is my wife."
Wow.
And the whole time she would come as a customer, But at the time, if I could be honest, I was like on my way to being married myself at the time.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I wasn't particularly happy with the situation, but it was what it was. And I was just like, I was just like, she is everything. And we would have a lot of great conversations. And she found out that I was married. She would not give me no type of
Well, engaged.
energy.
You weren't
Well, yeah,
married
she
yet.
found out I was engaged, and she wouldn't give me any energy. So we just
Oh, good.
remained friends.
Right.
And then I kind of like left the barbershop because I transitioned into my career, and we would follow each other on social media. And she would always like a lot of the pictures because I did a lot of work working with young men of color, and me being a dad, with my daughter and my son. She would always follow, and I would always like be obliged when she would like a picture, and I would like her pictures. And she ended up being in a relationship as well. Fast forward, my marriage had ended. I was a single man running the streets again, wilding out. And then I happened to stumble. No. So before that, I was actually putting out a book on co-parenting.
Okay.
Um, and I reached out. So I put a blurb out to any women of color who were stepmoms at the time. So she was in a relationship and she was a stepmom, and she actually put an excerpt in my book. Now,
Hmm.
mind you, we're not together. We just it's
Just
just
friends, just
cordial,
chilling.
just friends. She put a dope excerpt in the book, and maybe 3 years after,
You think about
yeah,
that.
maybe 3 years after, I'm like super single. I see a video of her paragliding in France, and something told me the Lord
Wow.
above, Jesus Christ, says she's trying to break free from something. Because only few people
Wow.
paraglide. Those who are daredevils and those who are looking for freedom.
I'm a daredevil.
Yeah, right. But God
Okay.
told me she was
Okay.
looking for freedom, and I jumped in her DMs, and I asked her three simple things: how's life, love, and work,
In business. How's
and
life?
business. And she gave me her answers, and from that point on, we have never stopped talking, and we have never left each other's side. 5 years
Wow.
later, baby on the way, engaged to be married. We're here.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You actually got the story
That's it.
fairly right. Yeah, you
So
did
that's your
more than
version
like.
too?
No, he'll twist it around every now and again. But I think for me, my experience, because I really didn't know. I mean, I felt some of I only felt vibes when he actually asked me out. He was like, "Oh, let me go out," and my barber had cued me in that like, don't mess with him because he about to be married. Stop playing. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be your last hurrah before you like die.
Right. Right.
Not me. I'm not that girl. And so, but before that, we would always have like great conversations in the barbershop. I thought he was really smart. Because barbershop talk, as a woman in a barbershop, you will get exposed to all kinds of information. I'm very opinionated. So I will chime in to these very
Right.
manly
Yeah,
conversations.
she was definitely triggered.
And so, but I also thought that he had a very balanced perspective. So I'm like, I always respected that about him, loved his work, all that stuff. So that all was true. Now, what wasn't true is I was not trying to break free from the relationship. I am naturally an adventurer. I've been skydiving, I paraglide, I've swam in the Hudson River. So I am a
But you
Okay.
definitely
daredevil.
was single though.
I was
Newly
single. I was
single.
newly single,
So
but
I
that was not the reason why. But somehow
Okay.
I guess God magically must have tapped into his spirit and said,
absolutely.
that's what this means, which gave him the green light to reach out. And so for me, when he did reach out, and I had my little clever answer about, like I said, something like life is, great, business is up and down, love comes and goes.
And I
I
was
was just
like,
like, trying to be like
oh.
slick with it. Um, and so, he was just like, how about that date I asked you for 5 years ago?
Hmm.
And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Literally.
No. First you asked, ain't you married?
No. I think yeah, you're right. I did. I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute.
Right. Let's be clear
Last
first.
time I checked on your little Facebook scroll, there was pictures of some other woman
Mhm.
Hmm.
that you called your wife. And so when we
Oh,
established
okay.
that and he asked for the date, I was just like, all right, cool. Because I definitely was, while I was newly single, I was in a very open position, just kind of like, I'm not gonna let that one situation kind of like tear down what love could be. And so I was just very open. And
Right.
we had our first date,
And I wined and dined her.
and that was it. So we legit don't even have like an official like anniversary. Our anniversary is like our first date because
wow,
that's
never
it.
left each other
Literally.
I know what that's like. I know what that's like. Oh, because here I am.
Yes.
So let me ask you, Shantini, when did you know that Barry was the one?
48 hours later.
It was yes, we actually just talked about this
Wow.
it was about, I think, maybe our second or third date. We were at Brooklyn Bridge Park. It's a cool park here in the city where you can see the skyline of both the Manhattan and the Brooklyn Bridge. We're sitting on a bench, just chilling. He was supposed to, so this was the date he invited me on. I like pictures. Maybe you can tell from my little brown Nubianness, but I love pictures. I love taking pictures. And so he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring my camera. We're gonna take some pictures by the water." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right up my alley." And so we get there. He don't have no battery in his camera.
Figures.
So we just sat on the bench with our little iPhone.
Wow.
And we just made the best of it. We talked and what have you. And we kept hearing some music in like the distance. And I was just like, oh, we should follow the music. Because we're on the bench, we're chatting and vibing, but then we kept hearing this music. And I'm like, oh, let's follow the music. So he gets up and follows the music with me. And so I was like, oh, you one of those. I like that. We get up, we follow the music, and we end up at Brooklyn Bridge Park skating rink a few yards away. We start dancing outside of the skating rink.
Wow.
All night long. So much that the people that were on the skating rink skating came off of the skating rink on their roller skates on the event and were dancing with us. And it was something.
So y'all were a whole vibe.
A whole vibe.
Whole vibe.
Love it.
In that moment, I was just like, oh my God, this is my person. Like, I don't know, it was something about the spontaneity, just the love for dance and energy and people. Right. I literally the next day phoned, I was on my way to work, it was super early, phoned one of my friends and I was like, girl, you know how I always ask you how you knew your husband was the one? And you'd be like, girl, you just knew. I was like, I think I met my husband.
Oh my gosh.
On date, it was like date number 2 or 3. Yeah. And I was just like, this is crazy.
Wow.
Here we are.
So was it the same moment for you, Barry? Or was it all those years before?
Yeah, it was definitely, because it's so funny. And we literally just talking about this. I was in a space prior to, like, I guess, reconnecting with her, where I didn't want to be in a relationship. I was just like, the marriage was what it was. I kind of like was dating, and it was just like, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna be a great father and just do what I do. And instantly, it was just so sporadic. Seeing a video of her and then kind of like looking back at her pictures, I was like, I gotta get my wife. Like, I knew then, and I was messy. Like, I had a whole bunch of stuff going on.
We had to clean up some stuff before we made it official.
we had to clean some things up, but it was just like, I knew a voice was like, this is it, go for it. And so all I had to do was just woo her. Like, I knew at that point, once you took the conversation and we had a couple of talks before we actually met in person again, I was just like, it's all up to me. This relationship will rely on how I show up in it, because she was willing to have the conversation. She was willing to go on a date. So I was just like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And that's what I did. So I guess I don't think that she was in the same space as I was, but going in and going for the initial conversation, it was like, I'm gonna get her. And we're gonna be together.
And it worked.
Yes, it absolutely did.
It worked. I think for me, one of the things that was really integral, even in those beginning stages where we were just talking, I remembered the feeling of our conversations, like the ease. So even before our first date, like, I remember the ease and the feeling of our conversation. And I said to myself, Shantini, don't ignore that. And I made it my business not to like dismiss it. Specifically because I was just out of a relationship. And so, everybody would like, they knew the other person and, like all that stuff. Right. And so like most people were like, "Ooh, girl, you're moving fast." But I knew that there was a familiarity and a connection in the way we would just talk so freely and transparently. That was so important. I think even one of our like maybe second conversations, we were talking about love
Yeah,
languages.
absolutely.
And I was like,
Wow.
come on now, a man that knows
Right.
his love language?
Right.
Stop
Exactly.
it.
That's right. I'm heaven sent.
Wow.
Stop it. You are. I am blessed and highly favored. You
I was
are.
about to say, honey, when things are ordained, then there's no way
Listen,
around it.
yes. And so I was just like, all I kept saying is like, don't dismiss it. Cause everyone else could have been, was, and not even could have been, was like, oh, it's too fast. Oh, you should slow down. Oh, you should not be dating. You should take time to heal. You should do. And I'm like, I'm healed. I wasn't broken. I got
Right,
broken
right.
up, but I wasn't broken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from the second date to a podcast, where did that go?
Oh wow, that's a good question.
That is a good question. So before the podcast, so let me run back a little bit. So we will always kind of help each other with our individual like businesses and like plans, ideas and stuff like that. But we always made it our business to try to create and do something together. We're both pretty creative and just like to entertain, like all those things. And so one of the when we first started out, Life's a Bash production company, we would host events, really cool, powerful events from like poetry, just like fundraisers, things like that, to kind of just bring culture and things together. And then life happened, you know what I mean? Like things, both of our businesses individually just started kind of moving really quickly, and our attention was more towards that. And so a friend of ours, actually one of my best friends, she was just like, y'all talk about relationships all the time, or people kind of always tend to ask us stuff. And we really are into just having those transparent, authentic conversations about love and, all the things that we're learning along the way. And she was just like, oh, you guys should do a podcast. And we were like, that might not be so bad. We had approached the year of thinking about maybe writing a book together or something like that. But when she mentioned podcasts, we were like, that's pretty relevant. Like a book, you're going to work some years, put it out, and then that's it. Whereas a podcast is something that is ongoing. You could be really, with the times and things like that. And so we just went with it. Shout out to my best friend.
I know that's right. How did you come up with the name?
Dating my best friend. Because we always felt like we were friends.
Yeah.
I don't think that we ever lost that spark, right? Like, so the connection started with friendship. So that has been the thread throughout our time, and we make sure that we're intentional around like keeping the friendship.
And always dating.
And we always kind of like try to find fun things to do.
That.
To keep the spark going. So it's just like it was that seamless. It was like dating my best friend. Yeah.
Okay, so y'all are working together, and I guess it's not really work when you. It's work, but it's not work.
Look,
but that's leading me to my question. So y'all are so intertwined, and the chemistry between you is amazing. But what's that thing that gets on your nerves or irritates you, Shantini?
Well, so I think I'm more of the let's like get the full year on the books. Let's get everything to cross the T's. And he's a little bit more like, we got this. We're good. Don't worry about it. So I would be the person that would like, I'm looking up the notes like for our topic and like being all like extra geeky and stuff like that about it. And I'm like, babe, did you review the notes? Did you take? Oh, I know. I got this. So I think that's one of the things that I would say would be like, really, where I feel like, okay, I'm prepared, but you're not prepared. But even though he's always prepared, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I guess it's like, I'm mad because I need more preparation.
Right. So a little hated that. But
I smell a hate time.
I'm like, hey, you didn't do no work? You
little hateration. I hear it. What about you, Barry?
For me is, I think it's the preparation. I think it's like, yo, babe, like you're a natural communicator. We're natural communicators. And to her point, I will say that my work is rooted in like knowing and behaviors and things like that. So it could be any question and I can kind of like relate it. But I tell her, like, one of the things I guess kind of like gets me is just like her second guessing herself
Mm,
when I
Mhm.
know that she has like this level of power
mm.
that we could kind of like just do it. And then, yeah, yeah, I think that's it. It's just like the level of like, why do you got to prepare so much? Like the odds are dotted already. Forget the T's. But yeah. So that would be I guess the only thing that I feel. But when we come together, it's just
It
like
just works. It
it's
really
just
does. Because I'll be there with my little notes,
yeah,
you know.
He's
And
just winging it.
somehow, yeah, it just works. It just works,
yeah,
which is good. We're grateful.
yeah, absolutely. Just the energy. And if you heard the podcast, you can see like both aspects are needed.
Hmm.
And that's what brings us together. That's what keeps us. That's what makes people love us as well, right? Because when they come into the space, they know they're getting two individuals, two different
Hmm.
personalities, but
Hmm.
there's kind of like this intertwine, like there's this connection
Yeah, it's a
that is
synergy.
like undeniable.
Hmm.
And we can still show up 100%.
Yeah.
Like I don't overshadow her, she doesn't overshadow me.
Right.
Hmm.
Um, and even through the process of the podcast, like we know each other so much. Like she knows when to give more, I know when to pull back,
Hmm.
vice versa, without it being a situation where we need to even talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the balance is definitely seen. Like when I
Good.
tell you I've watched the videos and I just listened to a little bit of the podcast on my podcast app.
Yeah.
But
How?
watching the YouTube videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, their chemistry is amazing. How does that translate to just your home life?
I think it translates really
Is
well.
well, yeah, we
Yeah.
have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Most of the times we're in here cutting up. Um, yeah, it really does. I don't even know how to explain it. We're
Yeah,
just
because it's
like,
it's it's awkward because people don't really believe.
right,
It's hard to believe, right?
right.
Like two people who are so intertwined, two people who have a podcast or doing work together.
Mm,
But I think that for both of us, and I don't want to speak for you, babe, but so
mm-hmm,
but if I had to speak for myself, it's like the whole nature or the understanding of dating your best friend, like friendship
yeah,
is being able to be, authentic,
mm-hmm,
without being hurtful,
Mhm.
being able to express yourself, but being able to take right like accountability for how
mm-hmm,
how you showing up.
yeah,
And also I think one of the things that we do well in our relationship is that if something is said, because we're human and it may be said in frustration or emotion, we allow each other to check each other like, yo babe,
mm-hmm,
I didn't like the way that was said.
mm-hmm,
And then each of us will take a step back if that wasn't our intention,
Mhm.
and say, all right, well, let me deliver it differently.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not to say that we don't debate, we don't argue, but we always kind of like find this way to like communicate what it is, and then we hear each other.
Yeah.
Um,
I would agree. I definitely would
yeah,
agree with that. I think that when we, in our home life, there's certain, I mean, like I think that at the very basis, at the core is a lot of fun. We're kind of both really silly
mm,
and very playful. And I think we give each other the opportunity to be that childlike spirit.
Mhm.
Sometimes he's a little more childlike than I am. I don't like to be tickled, but people like to tickle.
I tickle her all
And
day.
I'm like, I don't like that. Like I want to fight
Fight, fight.
when I'm being tickled. But
I
like
know
we just
that
have,
all too well.
right? I'm like, don't tickle me. I don't like it. And so we just have a lot of fun. We literally prank each other around the house.
Mhm.
It's just kind of what we do. But when it comes down to the really like serious conversations, there is I think I want to say a freedom
Mhm.
to have those conversations. I don't ever feel afraid to be like, yo, babe,
Yeah.
this is not, we have to pivot, we need to pivot, we need to check this, we need to do anything. So I feel like I definitely feel heard, I feel seen. I feel like I can comfortably address certain things. If there's something that's either bothering me or anything, I just feel really safe. I would call it a safe space to really just show up authentically, and I know that we will deal with it even if it doesn't get resolved right away. um Putting it out on the table, there's a space for that resolution. And so I feel really comfortable even in those challenging moments. And even if we're like the silly arguments, like the other day we were in BJ's arguing over cans of soda. No, sorry, iced tea.
Iced tea and cans
Okay,
of soda.
and cans of soda, because we were having our little drive-by baby shower, and I am an over preparer, as he mentioned.
Woo!
And so I'm like, well, we have this many people coming. We don't want to have under, we need to have over. And so he's just like, we don't need this much soda. And I'm like, yes, we do. Literally in the middle, in the soda aisle.
In the soda aisle of
BJ's.
BJ.
And he's like, you don't understand. And I'm like, well, you don't understand. We need this soda, you know. I would prefer. He was like, oh, well, who's gonna have to carry it? And I was like, if I wasn't pregnant, I would carry it.
And I said,
he's like,
well,
but you're pregnant.
But you're pregnant.
You are pregnant.
And then in that we find like
we just laughing.
Yeah, it's just like so I it's so funny because you bring that up. I just said to myself, I am arguing with her in the middle of the goddamn BJ's over 64 soda cans.
Literally. And it wasn't even the fancy Coca-Cola. We were buying the cheap ones, like the little $7.99 packs. The one that just say cola, not Coca-Cola. It's
It's not the no name. Y'all had a whole argument over the no name.
I was like, who gonna drink all these no brand sodas? So but in that kind of like what I think we each do is, one, we understand that neither one of us is without fault.
Yeah.
So if something comes up and she's experiencing something or I'm experiencing something, we hear each other first.
Yeah.
Like that is a tool that we practice. It's just like no matter how much we think that what we saying is the way we intended to, somebody is hearing it and they may not be hearing what we think we're saying.
Right.
So we instantly check ourselves and then we give space for each other's personality. Like so she's an over preparer. I am not like the blue collar guy. Like I don't like lifting stuff. I don't like putting things together. They pay me for this. This is what I do well. This is what brings in the money. So, but she gives me space, right? Like she doesn't judge me
Change all
for
the
that.
light bulbs.
And she try to like make sure that we are even killed. Like I'm in the mirror, I change the light bulbs in the emergency. If she's not here and it goes out, and I think about it. You know?
I'm like, I'm pregnant. I'm standing on the damn chair, and he's just like, great job, babe. Great job. And I was like, you know what?
But he's being supportive.
Shut up.
Got this, babe.
But yeah, we definitely give each other room to be completely ourselves, which I think is helpful. And I think I wanted to piggyback what you were saying too earlier about like, you know, even in those moments where you're like, either someone be like, okay, well, I heard that, but it stung a little bit. It was really hurtful. Can we backtrack, you know, or what, you know, because I think it's important to acknowledge how you deliver things so that it's received in the way that you intended. And so sometimes we have to have those moments where it's just kind of like, well, this is the way I heard it, and not take away from the person's experience of it. So like, yes, you may not have intended it to be that way, but this was my experience of what happened.
Right.
And so just giving room for those feelings and emotions and checking ourselves in the process.
And I love that you said you feel safe enough to do that.
Yeah.
That for me is like the basis of a healthy relationship. So I love that y'all can be the example of that. Like real life, this is a young Black couple who are doing it the right way. But let me ask this, where does baby fit in? Like, have y'all made space in between the two of you in your relationship for baby?
That's a powerful question.
That is a powerful question. And that's a question that I think we're still sifting through, because I think literally a few minutes before this call, he was just like, you're in total mama mode. Because I was in the bathroom, I was rubbing my belly, I was like looking at my little stretch marks. And he's like, you used to rub me like that. And I'm like, rub you like that? And he's like, well, not that long. You know, so I'm just like, you know, he was like, and he literally said, he was just like, yeah, he's like, I understand that you're in mama mode. And I know that you don't mean to be selfish, but this is how it's coming off. And so that's intel for me. Like, that's great information, because I didn't realize that. I mean, I know that I'm in mama mode. I'm prepping. I'm bossing him around. Move this here, put this there, do this. This box gotta go, and what have you, because I'm really trying. You know, I'm in like that nesting phase. Let's get this root, this house together. But I didn't know that I was coming off as being selfish, and so I'm like, good to know, because that's not my intention. I'm just in like, let's get prepared for this new life that is gonna be taking over our lives.
Yeah. And it's funny that you just bring that up, because in my sharing of it, and this is what I think men should understand. Like, and I think I brought this up. I was just like, it's good. I have to share that because a lot of times we're told to kind of like hold that stuff in, and
Mhm.
then we show it by now not doing nothing or pushing stuff around or not being in the household. And it's like, how easy would it be if you just articulate what it is that you
Right.
experience?
Mm-hmm.
And because you know that the person, if you say that the person, I feel like the person loves you,
Mm-hmm.
then if you say something, then you should feel safe to be able to express yourself.
Yeah.
And as
Mhm.
soon as I said it, she kind of like kissed me up and
I was
things
like,
like that.
come here.
Yeah, like, and I was just like, I
Let
want
me
this.
give you kisses for all the days that
Oh,
I missed.
I
But
love that. And I love that you both are now saying safety because that's not something that you hear men say that they
Mhm.
even look for from their mate. So the fact that you said that, that's really big. And I know it said so many times, especially in the Black community, how our Black men are taught at a young age that you don't express yourself with
Mhm.
emotions and you don't say things like that. So what got you to that point where you're able to do that?
Oh man, I mean, I'm privileged to do work with young men of color. I've been privileged to be trained in transformational education and meditation and all of those different things. So I know that sometimes, unfortunately, it's an anomaly to be a man of color and have access to that type of resource. And then two, aside from the skill set, just kind of like going through life and having a lot of adversity early on in my life and making a conscious choice that, like, if I don't want to experience it, then I need to make sure that I don't produce it. um
Mhm.
and I caught that, you know very early on, and obviously it was it took a process for me to get to a point of like mastering how I interact with people. But one thing about me is that I know that I can create chaos, and I know that I can create chaos very well at the drop of the dime. Like,
Mhm.
it's literally like right behind me right now. And
Wow.
at any given moment, I can destroy anything that I want. But in the same breath, if I know that I have the choice to do that, then I can flip the switch to anything that I want. Right. So I just honestly wake up every day and kind of like lead with joy, lead with love. And I do that regardless of what anybody else does.
Mhm.
So even if she, because we're human, if Shantini's a little snappy because she's in her own kind of human way, I'm not going to
Mhm.
respond to that because I know what's behind me, right? Like, so
Mhm.
knowing that and being conscious of my duality, being consciousness of my humanity and who I am, and how my triggers operate, I try my best not to respond in a way that I know is not going to keep the bridge built.
Mhm.
And that's big to me on a personal level. Like, family is big to me. Having good people around me is something that is big for me. So it's like I can't expect that if I'm not being that.
Right.
And so that's kind of like where it stems from.
I love it. I love it. Let me tell you, I could talk to y'all for hours, but I'm not going to be selfish. Please tell everybody where they can follow y'all, where they can catch your podcast, because there may be some people like me who didn't know. But how can we continue to keep up with this conversation and just relationships and Black love in general?
Absolutely. You can certainly find us um, on our podcast everywhere, all the streaming sites that you can even find a podcast at Dating My Best Friend Podcast. And then on Instagram at the BaShes
Underscore
underscore. And if our website is
.com.
lifesabashinc.com. I think that's all our places. I think we're on YouTube too now. Yeah, we're on
Yeah,
YouTube.
you're on YouTube
Yep.
too. Dating my best
I saw
friend.
you
Yeah,
on
dating my
YouTube.
best
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, we're on YouTube.
I was like, we're
Shout out
on YouTube
to
now.
KK, our
Yes,
content
our content
creator.
folks.
And then our personal, like, you tell them your
Oh
business.
yeah. So by trade, I am an esthetician and beauty empowerment coach. So I
Hmm.
do skincare. So you can find me on my personal at Shantini Aline Skin. That's my personal business and where they can find you.
Um, I'm Coach Coop underscore, and then I'm the founder of the Bro Experience,
Okay.
the organization that's geared to doing transformational education for young men of color, primarily right now in the tri-state area, and that's at the Bro Experience _ and yeah, thank you for having
Awesome,
me.
awesome stuff.
Exciting. Thank you so much for asking us to even be a part of
Yeah,
this.
we
I really
appreciate this.
appreciate it.
I really appreciate y'all sitting down with me, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. Maybe once the baby gets here and I
Yeah,
can hear about what pranks y'all are playing on the baby and stuff. I
He's
don't know.
he's already
I'm already prepping.
planning. He was like, "Oh, when the baby come, I'll be like, boo!" And I was like, "Oh God, don't scare my baby. Don't scare
I
him."
already know. I already know. Like I was feeling it. Like
But
this poor baby is gonna get
he has
it.
to know what he's getting
Absolutely,
into. Like that's one of the
absolutely.
things. It's just like he got to know that he's coming into a live family situation. We have a lot
Yes,
of fun, and we just go with it.
Well, I wish you both well in your journey as a couple, in the marriage to come, and the baby. And like I said, I look forward to doing this again.
Thank you
absolutely.
so
Thank you
much.
so
We
much.
appreciate
Y'all
you.
take care.
Bye, you
All right
too.
now,
Bye bye.
later.
I'm gonna stop the recording,
Okay.
but